Actually, I'm a humble retired lieutenant general. There is a difference. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor and a pleasure to be here tonight and to represent FPRI to present this award. For the past 10 years, FPRI has selected an individual, whether a statesman, a scholar, or a soldier, who best emulates Benjamin Franklin's commitment to liberty and public service, and particularly the resolution of problems through objective analysis. As all of you know, Benjamin Franklin was a man of many talents. He was a printer, a writer, a politician, a theorist, a diplomat, inventor, scientist, and of course, one of our founding fathers. He was also one of the nation's first bloggers, and he was also the founder of the first known think tank in America, which he called the Junto, which started in 1727. And just prior to the Revolutionary War, Franklin was a key member of the Committee of Select Correspondence, whose job was to conduct diplomatic and intelligence activities on behalf of the American revolutionaries. And in those days, I think Franklin would be known as what we would call an ace in information operations of today. And so that brings us to General Hayden. And as you know, General Hayden is the former director of both the National Security Agency and the director of the Central Intelligence Agency. I'm sure everyone in the audience is familiar with the last few positions that General Hayden held while serving his country. He was the director of the National Security Agency from 1999 to 2005. He then served a year as our Deputy Director of Intelligence, and then followed several years of dedicated service as the leader of the CIA. I believe everyone here tonight would agree that the General has been an exceptional leader both in and out of uniform. But if you'll permit me, I'd like to touch on just a few things in his career that I think helped develop him and prepare him for these jobs so he could step in and lead two of our key national security agencies for nearly a decade. Now, grew up the road in the other P town of Pennsylvania, in Pittsburgh. He graduated from Duquesne University and was commissioned in the U.S. Air Force from Duquesne. But he remained there to complete his graduate degree, a master's in modern American history. And I think today most of the students would probably view that as mid-20th century history, but that's, time goes by. Now, he cut his intelligence teeth at our Strategic Air Command during the height of the Cold War. And I just came from a NATO conference last week, and I can assure you they were all dusting off their Cold War plans and Cold War papers based on what's going on in Europe today. He later served in South Korea as the Chief of Intelligence of the 51st Fighter Wing. Now, unfortunately, the 51st is the second best wing in Korea, second to the famous 8th Fighter Wing Wolfpack. You can guess which one I was assigned to. He was then selected to be our air attaché in Sofia, Bulgaria, where he honed his diplomatic and intelligence skills. Following his return from Bulgaria, he held several positions on the air staff and then later on the NSC as Director of Defense Policy. He then served as Director of Intelligence in our European Command. I joined European Command shortly after he left, and the legacy was still there. From there, he commanded our Air Intelligence Agency in Texas. And then it was back to Korea, where he held a position called the Deputy Chief of Staff for the UN Command in U.S. Forces Korea. Now, if you're not familiar with that job, General Hayden was lucky to be our chief interlocutor with the North Koreans at the DMZ, where most of the time I think he was bombarded with heinous criminal activity of the United States and probably very little dialogue that actually went on. And then he came back to lead the NSA. So as you can see, he was very well prepared for the Washington environment and for leading those jobs. The rest we say is history. And that was the culmination of over 42 years of selfless, dedicated service to this great country. Nearly all of that, I'm proud to say, wearing Air Force Blue. So, sir, for your service to this great nation as a soldier, a diplomat, a scholar, and a leader, We in the Institute are pleased to present Michael V. Hayden, the 10th Annual Benjamin Franklin Award for Public Service, which comes with a very unique special gift. It's an original edition of Ben Franklin's History of Pennsylvania. It's published in 1759. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me and the rest of the trustees. Congratulate General Hayden tonight.